Hello, guys. So, I will be beginning with right to shelter. Shelter means the place, the house, the home in which a person resides, and what you expect or what are the conditions in your house. It is a comfy space where you can rest, right? It provides you safety from the external dust, rain, or the hot summers or the chilled winter, right? So also you keep it clean daily, right? So sanitation, hygienic condition, and the basic requirements of air, water, electricity, right? And for that also you have to pay taxes to the government, but that is another thing. We are not concerned with it right now. But what I was trying to tell you, that it is a space, of course, a safe structure, as I told you, clean and hygienic, light, air, water, electricity, sanitation, other civic amenities like roads. Because if your house is constructed and there is no roadside in front of it or surrounding it, then it will be very uh, inconvenient for you to travel from one place to another, and it is obvious that you have to step out of your house to go somewhere, to your school, to market, or something like that. So that may come under civic amenities. Amenities is need and civic is regarding people. So you can connect it with civil, and civil means the citizens or society. So in that interconnection it can work fine. It is a place where a person has opportunities to grow physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually. Okay, so intellectually means his mind can develop, he can learn, and so he that can be a development because the surroundings are safe, clean, and hygienic. And spiritual, that means related to religion, maybe. Okay, so physical, mental development and the growth, and it also ensures that, like you say na ki ghar pahunch jaye bas, so what is that? A sort of peace or comfort that you feel in relation to a place, right? That is your home. Shelter means, the basic meaning, the entire infrastructure necessary to enable an individual to live and develop as a human being. So entire infrastructure, that's why the roads and other amenities are also included, along with only a piece of land on which you have constructed that house, because that is not enough. You need roads, you need marketplace, you need some people, right? The transport and everything, because you need to travel. Fine. Then it came under, in the last video I think I told you that it is also under the ambit of article 21. So by which case, that is Chameli Singh versus State of UP Supreme Court. Okay, in Shanti Star Builders versus Narayan Khimalal Totame, Supreme Court held that right to life would take within its sweep. Within its sweep means within its ambit. The right to food, clothing, decent environment, reasonable accommodation, that is place to live in. There is a difference between need of an animal and a human being for shelter. So animal के लिए क्या है? They can live in their natural habitat, or they only have to protect their bare body. Other than that, they don't have those basic civic amenities. That is the difference between animal and a human, right? So by the nature of, or by the virtue of being a human, there are some other needs for a suitable accommodation that is required to allow him to grow in every aspect. Thus, right to shelter is an integral part of right to life, and right to life is under Article 21. Hence, this is also a component to which Article 21 has been extended by the Supreme Court. Okay, then child labor. Child means below the age of 18 years, and labor means when he or she is made to produce something, or he or she is made to work, right? So there are a number of factors to determine whether a particular kind of work can be called as child labor or not. Means, to categorize as a work which is done by a child, is it a labor which he is giving, or is it coming under the category of child labor or not, for that we have certain factors or parameters to decide. Okay, these include a child's age. As I told you, child labor is when a child is working below the age of 14 years in factories or industries. That is known as that he is providing labor. Why? Because all those people who otherwise work in the factory, they are known as laborers, right? So when a child is performing all those tasks, then he or she is also coming under the category of labor. So the child age is an important factor. The nature of work which he is asked to perform, very hazardous surrounding में कोई work है, या it is related to continuous exposure to fire which is of a grave risk to his physical health, fine, or the number of hours for which he has to or which he is forced to work, 12 hours, 15 hours, so that can impose a greater risk of his physical well-being. And also morally, that at this age he was supposed to study, as we did right to education in that age group, but because of some economic conditions or his family not well financially, that he is forced to leave his education part and enter into the working conditions. So the nature and hours of work that he is providing to the employer, to the person who has employed him, that also is one of the factor. Conditions under which work is performed. So all these things have to be taken and it has to be considered as a whole. All these have to be taken together to determine that the work which is done by a child can be labeled as child labor or not. Labor, that labor means the hard work, you can say in simple language. Labor also denotes the people who give such kind of work. जैसे for a building construction, you may have seen women and men, they carry 3-4 bricks on their head, and then from ground floor to the top floor where construction is going on of the building, they have to carry it through the stairs. So if a child of tender age is doing such work, it may come under the category of child labor, because that is not what he is supposed to do in that age. And if he has to do such work from day to evening 5 p.m., then hours of work have also expanded, which is not proportionate to the age to which he belongs, and this can seriously affect, that is jeopardize, the physical, mental and moral well-being of that child. And so it will be also called as hazardous work. Hazardous means harmful or fatal, fatal, fatal. Such labor deprives children of their childhood potential and dignity. Why childhood? As I told you, that this is the age in which they can, they can enjoy their life. जो एक बचपना होता है, आप वो उनसे छीन रहे हो, and you are giving the responsibility of earning livelihood for their families on their shoulders at such a tender age, in which they could have enjoyed the life carelessly, right? They don't need to care of any such liabilities. इस एज में उनको पैसा कमाना के लिए नहीं छोड़ना है, but they should learn, they should be educated, they should go to schools. But what they are doing is, just because of poor financial conditions of the family, or because there is no one to earn, they step out and they need to work. So their childhood is snatched away from them. So that is the moral well-being or morality of the child is gone away. एंड छोटी सी एज में समझदार हो जाना जिसको बोलते हैं, या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अपने ऊपर ले लेना, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी निभाना, दैट इज़ ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ डिप्राइविंग चिल्ड्रन ऑफ देयर चाइल्डहुड. Okay, and potential means, because if they got educated, they could have done better or performed in a different way. They could have excelled in some other field in which they were interested, right? Everybody has a hidden talent, as we say. तो हो सकता है वो अपनी capability वहाँ पर दिखाते, and they could have shine there. But that could not happen because they were working some other thing. They were performing some kind of construction work, right? And dignity, because child is also a human being, and as being a human, they also have some dignity. International Labour Organization was founded in 1919. Since we are talking about labor or work, so this organization has been defined over here. It was the first specialized agency of UN to deal with the labor issue. ILO started international program on elimination of child labor in 1992. Main objective is progressive elimination of child labor. Progressive means to help the countries to proceed in or the positive aspect of eliminating the child labor and to further develop in it. ओके आप उस जो एक एम लेकर चले हो उसमें आगे बढ़ते रहो. दैट इज़ एलिमिनेशन ऑफ चाइल्ड लेबर कि उसको हमें ख़त्म करना है सो दैट ये जो इफ़ेक्ट्स हो रहे हैं वो ना हो. व्हाट आर द इफ़ेक्ट्स? Fine. So this is the aim why we need to eliminate the child labor. Constitution has provided right against exploitation as a fundamental right. Child below the age of 14 years cannot be employed in any factory, mine or engage in any other hazardous employment. That is Article 24. A duty has been imposed on state to ensure that tender age of children is not abused. The state has to ensure that these are not forced by economic necessity to enter into any occupation unsuited to them. As I told you, why economic necessity? Because their financial condition is not well that they are able to sustain their families or have 2 square meals a day. So they are forced to enter into the field of work and so that they can earn their livelihood or some amount of money with which they can feed the other family members. Okay, so it is the right of children against exploitation. This thing, please remember, every right has a corresponding duty and this will go with you if you take up law in future. So this is a very basic concept. Right against exploitation which is given. So this right, this right is of the child, okay, against exploitation. That means he will not be engaged in such factories and all and he will not be exploited against for what he should not have been. ठीक है, जो काम उसके साथ नहीं होना था, so that should be protected. And below the age of 14 years, and this is the age group 6 to 14 for which he has to get education, right? So that can also be related. Article 24, that is one of the fundamental right, and since it is a right, so it is duty of another, as I told you. So the duty has been imposed on the state that it ensures that ये जो टेंडर एज है वो इकोनॉमिक कैपेसिटी या नेसेसिटी की वजह से अब्यूज्ड ना हो and they are not forced to enter into the occupation which is otherwise not suited for them. Means they are not meant to do that work but they are forced to do it because of financial condition. Is it clear? The Child Labor Prohibition Regulation Act 1986 objectives are banning the employment of children who have not completed 14th year in specified occupations and processes. Whatever the occupation and processes, when it is meant that they are specified, means the list or the categories would have been provided in that act कि इन एम्प्लॉयमेंट में या इन ऑक्यूपेशन या जो भी फैक्ट्रीज वगैरह हैं वहाँ पे कम्प्लीटली बैन हो जाना चाहिए चिल्ड्रन का एम्प्लॉयमेंट, ओके, हु आर बिलो द एज ऑफ 14 years. Procedures to decide modifications to the schedule of ban occupation or processes. So whatever the see, as I told you, it is specified, so it would have been specified in the schedule. ठीक है, so whatever occupations are specified in the schedule, how that will be modified. Why? Because maybe that with time, law is a dynamic subject. It changes with the needs of society with the passage of time. Okay, so it may happen that in future there are some other occupations that need to be added over here in which children should not be employed. So how to add it? that will be by modification or amendment. So what would be the procedure, that how that modification has to be done to the schedule, that is meant by this. Okay, regulating the conditions of work of children in employment where they are not prohibited from working. So certain occupations are whether they are where they are prohibited, and certain are where they can work, because that may be safer area, that may not be hazardous to their tender age. Okay, means ऐसा कुछ नेचर ऑफ वर्क होगा जो ईजी होगा, एंड दे कुड परफॉर्म एंड दे कैन ऑल्सो फीड देयर फैमिली, बिकॉज दैट इज़ ऑल्सो अ नेसेसिटी, है ना. Anyways, so where they are not prohibited from working, वहाँ पे conditions of work क्या होंगी, that is also given. National Policy on Child Labour, formulated in 1987, provides for strict enforcement of child labour laws. So whatever laws are made, they need to be implemented also. If they are only on paper and they are not implemented, then there is no use, no purpose served by making those laws at the first place, right? So whatever strict laws are made, you need to enforce that also strictly. By strict enforcement, it is meant that there should be no excuses of not enforcing them, कि हमारे पास ये बजट की कमी है तो हमने इसलिए enforce नहीं किया, या यहाँ पे कोई ऐसे कंडीशन में वर्क हो ही नहीं रहा है इसलिए हमने enforce नहीं किया. नहीं, you have to enforce it. No excuses on part of the state, because it's the state duty to protect, right? The focus is on general development programs on child labor. It provides for starting of projects in areas having high concentration of child labor. Means the areas or the regions of India where there is a higher population of child labor, or in which huge number में child labor जहाँ पर कराया जा रहा है, वहाँ पे सबसे पहले प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट करो, क्योंकि ज़्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट वहाँ पर है इस चीज़ को ख़त्म करने की. जहाँ पर ज़्यादा है तो वहीं पे तो हम शुरुआत करेंगे ना, कि वहाँ से कम करना शुरू करो. In pursuance, the National Child Labour Project scheme was launched in 1988, which envisages, means which promotes or provides running of special schools for children withdrawn from work. Means the children who are taken away from the work, उनके लिए special schools चलाए जाएंगे जहाँ पर उनको educate करो और बताओ कि आप पहले ये इतना पढ़ लो या ऐसे करो, then you go to work, then you go to on livelihood. But right now you need something other which is important, more important as per your age. Okay, so withdrawn from work, why? Because under this program, projects will be started having high concentration of child labor, and if strict enforcement is done, then they will not be allowed to work there, so they will be withdrawn. So for them, this project was started, in which special schools should be run for them. 2006 legislature also took steps towards total elimination of child labor, मतलब बिल्कुल भी नहीं होना चाहिए, पूरी तरीके से ख़त्म कर दो. It brought child domestic workers up to 14 years of age working in hotel, dhaba, eateries, entertainment industry within the purview of Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. ठीक है, तो 2006 में जो अमेंडमेंट हुआ या जो स्टेप्स लिए, उससे क्या हुआ कि होटल ढाबा में आज भी आपको दिखते होंगे बच्चे काम करते हुए, उनको भी चाइल्ड लेबर प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट के एम्बिट में डाल दिया गया. दैट मीन्स इट विल ऑल्सो बी अ हज़ार्डियस वर्क, और अगर ये भी हज़ार्डियस हो गया तो फिर क्या होगा, नाउ total elimination can be ensured. But again, implementation और laws बनने में अंतर होता है. There is always a gap, हमेशा. Sexual abuse. Child sexual abuse involves sexual activity with a child without consent, obviously. Sexual abuse, वैसे भी if he or she is a child, तो below the age of 18 years the person is not capable of giving consent. तो भले ही उसने consent दी हो या ना दी हो, क्योंकि हम उसको capable मानते ही नहीं हैं, हम उसको नहीं मानते that he is able to take his decisions or he is able to decide that this is good or this is bad for him, so he cannot give consent to such things. तो वो consent part immaterial हो जाता है. But otherwise if it is for a major adult person, then अगर sexual abuse की बात हो रही रही है तो हमेशा ध्यान रखना that would have been without his or her consent. Okay, but for a minor that consent part is immaterial because we consider that being a minor he is not capable of giving that consent. So for a minor his guardian or parent is required to give the consent for even opening a bank account in his name. ठीक है. So sexual abuse means abuse करना sexually, that is activity with a child. It is inappropriate sexual behavior. It could be interaction between a child and an adult or older child in which child is used for sexual stimulation of the wrongdoer. Okay, so an adult or an older child means older than the child who is being the victim of such abuse. Right? It includes fondling a child's genitals, making the child fondle the wrongdoer genitals, intercourse, incest, rape, sodomy, exhibitionism, and sexual exploitation. Exhibitionism can be that you are putting the genital photographs or videos on an exhibition, or you are making it public, you are publishing it. Okay, so that can also be a form of abuse, which the perpetrator uses deception, that is a form of cheating or fraud with the child. Threats, dhamki dena, other coercive methods to engage the child and maintain their silence. That means I am coercing you that I will publish this photo, and if you dare to speak out that I have done something like this with you, then I will publish the photo. So such kind of threats the perpetrator can give. Okay, and that is in exchange of the silence. And when that person or when the victim is silent, till the time he or she is silent, till that time, of course, the abuse can be continued. Okay, a person under the age of 18 years may also commit sexual abuse. So it's not just that ke a person below the age of 18 years ke साथ ही abuse हो रहा हो, but he can also be the perpetrator. That means a child can be a victim, a child can be a perpetrator as well. If you remember that 2012 Nirbhaya case in which one of the perpetrators was a man below the age of 18 years, right? So that is, he was a minor, but he had the knowledge of all such things as well. So you can draw the analogy. Significant disparity in age, development, size, rendering the victim incapable of giving consent. As I told you, someone below the age of 18 years is considered to be incapable of giving consent on part of any act which he or she may do. Okay, so consent on that part is considered to be irrelevant. Okay, so there may be we have seen that maturity comes with age, and in persons of different age and according to the surroundings or the house or the society in which they live, the circumstances which they have faced in their development, in their growth, that also determines that what maturity they have inculcated in themselves. Some children may get matured at a tender age, some may not even get matured after attaining 18 years of age. So that is different, and also the height, weight and all such physical appearances of everybody is also different. Someone may appear of 19 years to you, but when you see him physically, it feels that, or it appears that he's not even of 10 years, right? So that is the body shape, and the body size is different for everybody. Not body shaming anyone here, so I like to be very far away from such controversies. Child sexual abuse is broad enough to include extra-familial. Extra means outside, so outside a family abuse, and inter, that is inside the family abuse also. News में बहुत बार आता है that in the relations or the relatives of a child has abused him or her. So that is inter-family, means within the family abuse sexually has been done, and it can also be done by a stranger, that is outside family. So family herein includes the relatives as well, not only those close family relations, but the extended family also may be included. An act has been passed in 2012 to deal with this problem, that is POCSO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. Okay, so we have, see, rape, sodomy, all these are criminal offenses, right? And for criminal offenses we already have Indian Penal Code, that is IPC, and now that criminal law is even changed, but the cases which are going on as per IPC, they will be decided according to that criminal rule book only. On those cases which were already pending in the court when the new criminal laws came, they will not be decided by those new laws, right? So IPC, for that matter, we have criminal legislation, but this is a new criminal act which was passed, and it special law, you can say, because for the protection of children only below the age of 18 years, that is a child, right? And the IPC applies to everybody irrespective of all such grounds. Fine. And this also prescribes the graver punishments than IPC for certain special offenses against children only. Okay, this act protects children from offenses of penetrative sexual assault, penetration of penis or any object or part of body into vagina, mouth, urethra, anus of child, sexual assault touching vagina, penis, anus, breast with sexual intent or making a child to do so. So either you are doing it with the child or you are forcing the child to do it on you. That can be both the ways of sexual assault. Also, the intention is important, because for any act to be a crime, two things are required: the physical act that you are doing and the intention behind doing that act. I had the intention to cause him hurt. I am beating a person with the intention of causing him hurt. So that may be a sort of physical assault that I have committed on that person. And physical assault is also an offense under IPC. Fine. So intention and act, always remember these two are the components which constitute an act into a crime. Sexual harassment, uttering words, sounds, gesture, or exhibiting any body part or making a child to do so. Use of child for pornographic purposes, that is, using a child in any form of media for the purpose of gratification. Fine. So pornographic also means such sexual assaults which you publish or which you put on display. Yeah, online sites and all that stuff. Education programs for children are created to create awareness among children. So education programs, especially on Doordarshan kind of government channels, are of course being done to create awareness and to educate the children that these are the laws and you should not do such acts, otherwise you can be punished under such laws and it will be a graver punishment, right? Rigorous imprisonment of 12 years, 15 years. POSCO is something which has to be taken even more serious than the punishments or sentences which are prescribed under the IPC, because as I told you, IPC may be a general law which applies on everybody. Okay, and under the IPC, defense of minority can also, you can claim that I am below 18 years, so I will be sent to Bal Sudhar Grah Rehabilitation Center and you will not be punished as stricter as an adult male. But under POSCO, even those minor and all, they can be coming into the ambit. So it is a special law which is basically for protection of children against any sort of sexual offense which has been committed by or against them. And by them, that can be, again, the consent is immaterial. They are not capable of giving their consent. So we consider, or the law considers, that they were only forced to do so. That's why it was written that threats or coercive methods, or उनको धमकी देना that you have to be silent, otherwise I will do this to you, I will do this to your parent, I will tell you, I will tell all these acts which you have done, I have photos, proof of you doing them, and then they will be upset, they will throw you out of the house, or they will all the such kinds of stories that they can make to maintain the silence. Because of course if the child is silent, तब तक वो perpetrator भी तो बचा रहेगा ना. Once that is in open, he will be punished. So silence serves his purpose also. These programs focus on two main goals: primary prevention, that is preventing the abuse from occurring. Primary means at the basic level, that आप उसको occur होने से ही prevent करो, वो हो ही ना, right? And detection, encouraging children to report past and current abuse. That means primary prevention is always something to prevent, right? As the word itself suggests, to prevent. And as we say, prevention is better than cure. So you prevent the things to happen rather than you wait for the thing to happen and then you take steps to cure or to treat it, right? To do the treatment of it. So it's better that you prevent the things from occurring at the first place. Fine. So prevention jahan par bhi, not only in this chapter or anywhere you see, you will always have to infer from this word prevention that prevention is better than cure. So prevent the thing from occurring at the first place. Fine. Detection means whatever present or past abuse कि जो हो गया अब उसको हमें रिपोर्ट करना है ताकि उसके आगे की प्रोसीडिंग्स हम मोशन में ला सकें और जो भी पर्सन होगा हु इज़ एट फॉल्ट, he or she needs to be punished so that a deterrence can be created. Deterrence is for what? So that the other like-minded people who may have thought of doing the same act or who may have done the same act but it was not reported, they also they get fear that okay, अगर इसके साथ ये हुआ है तो मेरे साथ भी ये चीज़ हो सकती है, मुझे भी ऐसी पनिशमेंट मिल सकती है. So that can be set as an example that would prevent other people from repeating the same act in future. That is the purpose of deterrence. Okay, spelling is CE. Fine. Deterrence. Okay. Parents play an important role in this because parents are the best counselors that children can ever have. Okay, so they have to make them sit in a relaxing, comforting situation. They have to comfort, they have to provide the children with the love and care or the support that they need in such kind of situations when they are the victims of such abuse. The prevention of child sexual abuse begins with social awareness, recognition that expertise, energy, money are needed to alleviate, that is to lessen or to reduce or to remove the conditions that produce child sexual abuse. So prevention begins with the education because as I said, a lot of people are illiterate. Illiteracy rate बहुत ज़्यादा है इंडिया का. So they don't have proper education. Education होती तो जैसे आप इन लॉस के बारे में पढ़ रहे हो शायद उन्होंने भी थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा होता, but people, they don't even know the basic alphabets of English order or the Hindi order. They don't know ABC. So these laws or these such things is a very impossible thing that they would know. But simple awareness programs or the rallies or posters and all that stuff in the village or remote areas, that can make them educated or that can make them having knowledge about such laws or such things that ये आपको नहीं करना है. You have to refrain yourself from doing this because उसका consequence आपके साथ इतनी ज़्यादा punishment या imprisonment या ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है. You will have serious consequences to follow if you do this and this act. इतना तो awareness करी जा सकती है. Recognition, that means recognizing that expertise, that means people, their intellectual mind, the infrastructure, the energy, time and money, of course. Money के बिना तो आजकल कुछ नहीं होता. So money are needed to remove the conditions that are producing such abuse. Even the rallies or the education programs that will be conducted, that will also need expertise and money. Right? School-based sex education for children is appealing because it has potential to reach large number of young people whosoever are studying in schools. उन सबको हम education दे सकते हैं, so that can be a part of mass education program. Parental competency programs target at risk parents. Risk parents means poor, young, single. Young because शादी जल्दी हो गई होगी. Single because they may have been divorced or widowed at a young age. Fine. And risk children with goal of providing training, social support before any abuse can occur. So again, that is a program of prevention, right? Support before any abuse can occur. So you are a sort of consolence that you are making that we have your back. We are at your back. Okay, so don't worry if such thing happens, you just report. ताकि हम उस perpetrator को पकड़कर उसको सज़ा दे सके. बिकॉज इफ़ यू डोंट रिपोर्ट वी विल नॉट गेट टू नो. किसी को कोई सपना तो आने नहीं वाला कि आपके साथ ये हो गया, तो आपको बताना तो पड़ेगा ही. सो दैट ऑल can be done by the competency programs. Parental risk पे क्यों है? क्योंकि they may not know or they may not want such things to come in public notice कि हमारे साथ या हमारे बच्चे के साथ ऐसा कुछ हुआ, because they consider it to be a societal taboo, right? And stigma which may be attached कि अरे ये तो अपने बच्चे को protect नहीं कर पाया या all that stuff. And poor because they may not be able to arrange for the financial requirements that the criminal proceedings may require, like lawyer की fees, transportation cost या ऑल दैट स्टफ, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन का जो फीस, कोर्ट फीस जो लगानी पड़ेगी, उन सब का पैसा उनके पास नहीं है. उनके पास खाना खाने का तो पैसा नहीं है, तो ये एक्स्ट्रा एक्सपेंसेस वो कैसे अफोर्ड करेंगे? ठीक है. सो फॉर ऑल दोज थिंग्स सच प्रोग्राम्स कैन बी इनिशिएटेड एंड लॉन्च्ड एंड दैट हैज़ टू बी मेड सक्सेसफुल एज वेल. Yes, anything which the government is launching has to be, or it will become successful only if it has the support of the common people, right? जिनके लिए वो बनाया गया है. So little bit of cooperation on that side also it is required for the better implementation of laws that are made. Thank you so much.